Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. I'm Haley and this is Danielle. We are Queens of Schemes here to debunk MLMs and scams with facts and a side of sass.
Today we're talking about Darrell Wolfe, who is a self-proclaimed Doc of Detox, who isn't a real doctor, but sure likes to act like one. The biggest problem with Dr. Wolfe is that he is advertising himself as though he's a real doctor. So if you go on his YouTube, on his app, Facebook, it is clearly marked as Dr. Darrell Wolfe. And Haley and I will not be referring to him as Dr. Wolfe because he's not a real doctor. And the reason he's claiming he's a real doctor is because he has a PhD in acupuncture. Being an acupuncture specialist doesn't make you a doctor and doesn't give you the education and experience and training to be able to make the claims that he's doing. So his victims portray him as a figure of authority, somebody who is an expert in their field, but he's not an expert in that field.
What Danielle and I found really intriguing when we were looking into the Doc of Detox is there isn't a whole lot of information out there or really anybody calling Darrell Wolfe out on the practices, the baseless practices that he's suggesting people use. He charges a lot of money for these treatments with no evidence that it works. And a lot of the supplements that he's using, there's no proof that they work. And some of them are even banned by the FDA because they cause issues that he is saying they actually prevent. What we did find was that CBC Marketplace has actually investigated Darrell Wolfe on a number of occasions. CBC Marketplace has a about a 25-minute documentary where they have an investigative journalist that goes undercover to Darrell Wolfe's practice in Mexico and reveals some of the treatments that he's using and the horrible outcomes that his victims have faced as a result of using his treatments. The marketplace investigation does an awesome job of providing a timeline of just how long Darrell Wolfe has been doing this. And if you're interested in watching it, we'll also leave a link in the description of this episode. When I started watching Darrell Wolfe's videos, the issues that I had with it was number one, he is hugely against the traditional healthcare system. He absolutely hates big pharma. And he uses a lot of half truths when he's talking about certain diseases and how they work or certain treatments and what's happening. A lot of it includes like a little bit of truth, which I think might be why people are like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. And then it's like, okay, he clearly has no clue what he's talking about as he continues going. I understand that there's a lot of controversy around the traditional healthcare system and big pharma. I get that. I love a good conspiracy theory, but they also do play a vital role in our lives, especially if we're talking about certain diseases. We need those systems, or people do die, and people do die from preventable diseases. And there just has to be a good balance. I know that there's a lot of other things going on with that, but it's not inherently bad just because somebody says it is, and just because you practice natural medicine does not mean that everything else is bad because you think that doing it the natural way is the best way. When I watched his videos, Darrell Wolfe really believes that your thoughts create everything. That's the vibe that I get. So it's not anything that you're really doing other than your thoughts that create some of these diseases. So that's why he believes in self-healing. So everything comes back to the fact that if you have bad and negative thoughts and you're doing these things, that you will make yourself sick. And by not doing that, you can make yourself better, which is why he pretty much claims to be able to cure everything. Darrell Wolfe, for some reason, also has a big issue with dairy. So he says that yogurt made from cow's milk is unhealthy and that dairy causes diabetes in children. Dairy has never been directly linked to diabetes. He says parents who give kids cow's milk will make them diabetic. This is also false. No single food directly causes diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disorder, and type 2 is linked to diet, genetics, and lifestyle. He made a claim that 50% of women have endometriosis or fibroids. The actual rates are much lower. It's actually about 10% for endometriosis and 20 to 40% for fibroids. This is varying by age and ethnicity. I'm not really understanding it, but Darrell Wolfe also likes to talk a lot about women's health. And to be honest, I don't really feel like it's in a very appropriate way. I watched the 20-minute video that he made called I Am Woman, and I was actually upset after.
So not only is he a fake doctor, I guess he's a sexist too, eh? Great.
Essentially, this video is him talking about how women's power and health has been stripped by the healthcare system. That's the video. He makes a lot of comments about how women have been suppressed and all these things. And again, it's kind of that half truth part where, the things he is saying is true in context, but it's also like really kind of degrading when he's saying it, and it's almost like he's trying to brainwash women into thinking that they're too stupid to understand the healthcare system, because he says in that video that women do not understand the healthcare system. He said that women are not respected, their power has been stripped of them along with their health because healthcare doesn't care about women. And he also said that women are being dominated by men on the physical and emotional level, and that most women don't understand what real health is. So, in a video where he's trying to say all these things and he's talking about women being suppressed, it's that half truth. There are things that have happened, but research is getting better. And I don't think that healthcare doesn't care about women.
What I'm hearing and gathering is that not only is he targeting people that are experiencing debilitating illnesses and life-threatening health issues, but he's also going after women, which is very similar to a tactic that MLMs will use, where there's this belief that that gender is a little bit easier to manipulate than the rest. That's a recipe for disaster, manipulating women into believing that the healthcare system doesn't care about them and basically redirecting them all to him for these bogus treatments that are likely not going to work in the way that he's claiming. And this is really detrimental to everybody's health, but certainly women.
So some of the other claims that he makes in this video, this one was pretty crazy. He said that the medical system is the leading cause of death in North America, which is
Based
not
on what
true.
facts?
Well, the leading cause of death is heart disease, which in other videos he recognizes as being the leading cause of death. So he knows that, but in this video, he says it's the medical system, which I think is just a fear mongering tactic. He's saying that because, again, we know he's targeting women. He's saying some actually really awful things about women and then convincing them that they don't know what real health is and that the healthcare system doesn't know what to do with them and doesn't care about them. And then he's saying that basically, okay, well, now the medical system's after you too, so you don't want to go to them because it'll actually cause you death.
When in many cases, if they don't go to the medical system, it may cause their death, which was unfortunately the case for some of his victims.
And another one that I thought was really weird was he said hard work has nothing to do with success when it comes to finances, health, or relationships with yourself or anyone else.
What kind of quack doctor is this?
We're going to show a couple clips from his Facebook videos, and you'll see why what he says is really interesting. He doesn't really believe that any disease exists, but then he also claims that he has cures for all of these things that are happening to you. So this video is people have written in questions for him about their medical problems or, something that they're experiencing, and they're asking for his advice.
COPD repair. Well, first of all, there is no COPD. And if you go back and watch the video, I already showed you. It's all about nebulizing. Oh, and can I say something, everybody? You know what? Nebulizing, get comfortable here. Nebulizing is great, but guess what you do before it? Okay, I can tell you what you do before it. You clap your lungs. If I clap this for 5 minutes and I clapped here for 5 minutes, okay? If I clapped here for 5 minutes, this for 5 minutes, do you think I'm going to get the circulation going? Okay, and then I'm going to nebulize. Okay, all right? And then I might even clap after I nebulize and loosen everything up and get it going. And that's why you also want to drink warm to hot structured water.
So he claims that there is no such thing as COPD. And one of his claims to fame, he's got a tool for it called the clapper, but it's also just you like clapping on different parts of your body. And he says to get a therapeutic effect, from the videos I've watched, you need to do this for about 15 minutes. So that's why he's saying to clap on your chest. And he's saying because you're going to bring the circulation to the skin, it's going to break up everything that's causing you not to be able to breathe, and that by using a nebulizer, a product that he sells, and his essential oils or whatever he's telling you to put in the nebulizer will fix the COPD.
This is so invalidating for people who are suffering with this illness. It's awful what it does to people. And to outright say, yeah, that doesn't exist, I'm very taken back by it, because these problems do exist and they affect real people. And this misinformation making people believe that they have the power to reverse what's happened to them and to basically minimize it to something that is non-existent. Oof, I have so many issues with this.
And it's concerning too, because a lot of these major claims that he's making when he's talking about his products and his videos are not diseases or illnesses that go away. Like most people get progressively worse, even COPD, unfortunately, like the treatments that they do have for that, they'll help you be a little bit more comfortable. They can help you breathe better, but you're not really going to be getting any better. And to say that by simply clapping on your chest and using a nebulizer is a cure for this is extremely harmful.
That's the really scary part about all these bold claims that he's making, is that they're not accompanied with real scientific evidence. There's no studies on these products that he's selling. He's basically just stating it as facts and running with it. And he is quite convincing. If you look at all his videos, he really talks like he knows what he's talking about.
Okay, and then the other part of her question was about nebulizing mix for COVID in the lungs. And that's the same, Christy, same lady.
Well, first of all, COVID in the lungs. Let's stop it, okay? Can we stop it? Can we just not give COVID the front seat? Can we not give COVID the crown? Okay, all right? And that's what we do, okay? One thing we know that it was actually just the vaccine that was poisoned. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. Understand something, love. Don't give COVID so much credit. Do it this way, okay? It's always going to be this. Infection creates inflammation. Inflammation causes mucus production. And if you have more, if it continues, then you're going to have stagnation. Then guess what? Then you have a swamp in your lungs. And that's why you get the parasites, the fungus, and the bad bacteria. And then guess what? If the inflammation continues, then the beautiful tissue becomes scar tissue like fibrin. That's it. Don't go for this. You know what? Everybody just stop talking like a commercial. Okay? I'm not upset. I would too. But let's stop talking like commercials. Okay? I mean, guys, there are no diseases. There's just poisoning. You're not fat, you're poisoned. You're not sick, you're poisoned. You're not tired, you've been poisoned. Now, here's the deal. So when you do nebulizing, do I have my nebulizer here? I had it here yesterday.
When we get to see the nebulizer.
Everybody, that's a nebulizer. And understand something. I'm going to tell a really quick story. And very quick, I promise I'm really going to try not to rattle on like I do sometimes.
He does, in fact, rattle on. But I found this video interesting because, again, I understand the controversy around COVID, but he's saying that not only does COVID not exist, but every other disease that would cause any type of issue in your lungs does not exist. And that all of this is just caused by inflammation. And that kind of is his other claim to fame, is this scar tissue and crystallization. That's what he says is causing everything to do with your body is because of that.
This is dangerous misinformation. And I'm surprised that he has 300,000 followers on Facebook, because he's quite condescending in the way
Mhm.
that he addresses the public and how he's answering those questions. He's acting like he knows all the answers and kind of belittling those asking genuine, real questions about real things that are happening to them.
Well, and that's the thing is because he doesn't really believe that any of these diseases exist, when people write in about them, he always has something negative to say about it or he says it's not real, which is invalidating to the people writing in because obviously they've been to a healthcare professional or they're having enough symptoms to think, "Okay, I really do have this disease." And then they go see him and he's like, "Well, no, you don't. Just clap your chest for 15 minutes and you're good to go. Try my nebulizer, buy $500 worth of my products, I'll fix you in a matter of minutes."
It's wild. And this is where we get Belle Gibson vibes, because he is targeting people who have serious problems, getting them to stay away from the medical system so that they can buy into all of these products that haven't been proven to work the way that he says it works. And this is super dangerous. People are going to get hurt. And CBC Market were already able to find victims that had unfortunately passed away because of the claims Darrell Wolfe was saying.
And because they used his products as an alternative to traditional medicine. And it's not to say that maybe they would have had a longer life going the traditional medicine way, but it was the fact that he's saying that I can cure you, I 100% can make you better if you just change things like your mindset and that you believe that you have this self-healing power.
If it was that simple, the diabetes epidemic in North America would have been solved a long time ago. We would have all just fought the diabetes away. It's not that simple.
And some of these things are not caused by people themselves. Like we kind of discussed it a little bit earlier, like type 1 diabetes, people get that. It's not something like the type 2 where that can be induced by unhealthy foods and things like that. It's the same thing with a lot of autoimmune diseases. We don't know why people get things like ALS and lupus. It's not something that you're doing. You're not to blame. That's kind of also what he does is he's blaming people for getting these diseases that we don't even know what causes them. In this video, Darrell is using his medical device, the clapper. In his videos, he says that you can use your hand, or he also tries to sell you the clapper.
About 5 minutes on an area. Like even when we're going to use the clapper for under the neck, but under the arms, you use your hand. And you can believe this or not believe this. If we were to teach every little girl to clap under their armpits for 1 minute before they have their shower every day, okay, we have just cut down breast inflammation, okay, calcification, scar tissue formation by 90%. Oh, whoa, we don't want to do that. Look at the money we make. Oh, God, what did I just do? I take that back. Get rid of that video, please. Understand something. Most practitioners have poverty consciousness. They're not going to want to give you. They're not going to want to give you secrets. Don't go to a practitioner that is there to just treat you. Go to one that's going to train you what they're doing. If it makes you free, then you want to get trained.
That's not how we become a doctor. I don't just go in my doctor's office and am like, you know what? I would really like it if you could teach me how to do open heart surgery. That would be great.
I also don't like in this video how he's insinuating that if you tell little girls to clap under their armpits, that he basically insinuates they might not be at risk for breast cancer. I feel like that's a really dangerous thing to say, and that by doing this for 1 minute, it prevents all of that when there's no studies proving that. And while it might not be even harmful for somebody to do that to themselves, it's just clapping, it's not going to help you in the long run. There's no scientific evidence that doing this over a period of time is going to put you or your child less at risk.
The other scary thing is the message that he's sending to those who may be experiencing breast cancer or some kind of issue related to that, and they may not seek traditional treatment if they think the clapper is going to solve that health problem for them.
The thing is, the healthcare system has come a long way, especially in terms of screening for breast cancer. And by saying that you can use this tool instead of going to a doctor could put people at risk and have further complications, because when this issue or the problems that they're having, if they don't go away and then they go to the traditional doctor because they realize that, okay, maybe this clapping thing isn't working, it might be too late, or it might have progressed further than it would have had you sought that treatment before. Because, like I said earlier, we've come a long way in being able to diagnose and recognize certain illnesses that women are prone to. These clips that we showed you only just scratch the surface. On his Facebook, he has hundreds of videos where he's claiming to be able to fix all different types of ailments. He's selling all of these different products. He's on live pretty much every day, making all types of claims and talking all types of nonsense all day that people are listening to. Now that we've shown you and discussed a little bit about what Darrell Wolfe is about, we want to break down the CBC Marketplace investigation. They have actually interviewed Darrell, or tried to interview him, a number of times, and they had an undercover journalist go to his facility in Mexico and film some of the treatments that he was giving. And it's very concerning. So we are going to break down everything that we saw in this video and why the misinformation that he's spewing is so harmful. Darrell Wolfe is the Doc of Detox, and he is a Canadian in Mexico that's pushing questionable cures. So the first part of the documentary shows Darrell kind of just like an intro into some of the treatments that he's doing. And right away, probably within the first minute, I was literally screaming, because he's taking a woman's wrist and twisting it back and forth while she screams and manipulating it and saying, "Ooh, do you hear the crack, crack? Listen to this." And all I can think is, if this woman's wrist is really fractured, I don't know what type of treatment he's doing other than making it worse.
If it is a fracture, it just turned into a full broken bone.
And then they start talking about some of the claims that he makes. So Darrell Wolfe really believes that he can cure everything. And some of the techniques that he uses is he charges for aggressive massage techniques on facial tumors. He sells costly supplements and devices. And most of these devices have actually been regarded as useless and dangerous by medical professionals.
That says it all, that even the medical industry do not recognize the techniques that he's using. Big red flag.
One of the other claims that he has made, I guess, is that he gave his father 3 shots of his own urine a day, and that claims to have gotten rid of his leukemia in 6 weeks. And he also believes that about 250 milligrams of CBD vaginally or rectally can shrink a brain tumor.
I'm not a doctor, but if we're going to take CBD, just ingest it. There's no need to go that route, I don't think. Like, where's the medical reasoning for that?
Well, that's the thing. There is really no medical reasoning, or doesn't seem to be a medical reasoning, for a lot of the things that he is telling people to use. It all goes back to the half-truth thing. Even he has a essential oil, his own essential oils line that he sells, and one of them is cinnamon. And he makes all these claims about cinnamon being like antifungal and being able to cure all these things. And it's true, cinnamon does have these characteristics, but they've already proven that a human would not be able to ingest the amount of cinnamon they would need to ever get the effects that it could provide them. So by saying that he's selling this oil with cinnamon in it and that it's going to cure all these things, it's like, okay, yeah, those are the characteristics of cinnamon, but it doesn't matter that you've put it in oil. You're never going to be able to get the effects that he thinks you will. The first time that CBC actually started covering Darrell Wolfe was in 1994, when they discovered that he was selling a fake HIV cure out of Toronto, and his clinic closed shortly after it was covered by CBC.
And surprise, surprise, everybody, this miracle cure that he was pushing was essentially rectal ozone administration. So again, putting things up our behinds for cure. And this technique seems to come up a lot. I wonder if he has a secret butt fetish that he is hiding behind this scam and gives him a reason to do that to people. Because how much you
Well,
want to bet that he was helping them put this stuff up their behinds?
Well, and he also talks a lot about enemas. I think he has the coffee enema as one of his products, and that's also one of his main treatments is to be doing these enemas to clear your intestines out. He talks a lot about your intestines and gut health. That's kind of what it seems like his specialty is in terms of like that's connected to everything in your body. So by doing certain things with your abdomen and certain breathing techniques, and he also has his belly button therapy.
This is a lot about Darrell Wolfe. The fact that he was practicing his natural medicine in Canada and then got called out for the outrageous claims that he was making.
I think this incident in 1994 where he was selling this fake cure for HIV kind of really opened the doors for everything that he's about, because even now we don't have a cure for HIV. There's been a lot of research, obviously, since 1994 that's been done, but these are the types of claims that he's making. He's not just saying that he can cure the common cold, which he thinks he can cure too, is these chronic illnesses where there is no better outcome for people, unfortunately, is like his claim to fame. That's the people that he focuses on the most. And those are the people that are most vulnerable and will probably go looking for him because traditional healthcare and big pharma in this case can only do so much. They can't cure you of these things. So any treatment that you get is not going to make you better. And people get desperate and they really want to feel better, or they are trying to search and do their own research. And Darrell Wolfe's name comes up and they read all these testimonials, or even on his YouTube, I think he has over 100 testimonials of people saying that his products and his technique works. And then people are kind of convinced because he does have a way of kind of brainwashing people when he's talking to them that they should try this.
What I'm really shook about is that he's been scamming people in this way for 30 years. More than that, because we don't even know when he started. 1994 was just when he was caught and called out for what he was doing, ultimately driving him out of Canada because can't stay in a place that has caught on to the scams.
Well, and that's the thing. It's kind of ironic that he is against big pharma, probably because of the money making aspect. When he also sells his courses, people pay up to $10,000 for these treatments, which is also something that they discuss in the documentary. And he promises cures for the seriously ill, and it costs them a lot of money to be treated.
It's ironic because he's got this problem with big pharma because they want to make money off of vulnerable people. Buddy, that's total projection. That's exactly what you're doing. And the difference
Mhm.
between you and big pharma is that big pharma is actually giving out real medicine for real problems, whereas he's acting like none of it exists and it's a cash grab for him as well. No one's going to make me believe that he's doing this to help people. No, you're doing this to take their money. I saw the house that he lives in all his lives. It's a beautiful mansion. Don't tell me that he's trying to help people. No, you're just trying to fund your very lavish lifestyle on the backs of people who are going through really terrible times in their lives, looking for answers.
One of the products that they discuss in the CBC Marketplace documentary is the Cell Sonic. So they're discussing that a woman wants to get alternative treatment because she found lumps in her breast during COVID. She spent thousands of dollars on supplements and devices. She's convinced that she needs to go to Mexico because he promised her that he had worked with breast cancer before and that she just needed to use the Cell Sonic. And he says that the Cell Sonic can stop cancer in its heels in one treatment. The outcome of using the Cell Sonic for this woman is that it made her body worse and she had arm pain that she never had before. The maker of the Cell Sonic device says that it works to cure cancer and other ailments, but no medical experts ever have agreed that this Cell Sonic does anything at all.
And what I find really sad about that situation is that there's probably many other victims who experience something very similar and they're going to him because they're likely in pain They're experiencing some type of health issue that is causing them grief, and he is exasperating that problem by preventing them from going to the hospital and then giving them these bogus treatments that is ultimately contributing to their suffering. And they're manipulated into believing that it has nothing to do with the treatment and that it's all in their head essentially.
Well, yeah, because they do discuss that in the documentary too, that the onus is on the patient. He makes a claim in one of his videos that if you're in a wheelchair and that person wants to come there and not use the wheelchair and be walking, that basically they can will it into existence. And that if they can't walk by the time they leave, it's because they didn't want to or they didn't want to get better. That's his MO when he's talking about this, is that everything is kind of mind over matter. So by changing your thinking pattern, you can heal yourself. But he also makes sure that you know that that's only possible if you buy his products and his supplements or use his treatments.
And it's a perfect defense for him when people call him out for the fact that it's not working. Just victim blame it on them. They didn't want it bad enough. They weren't having those positive thoughts to change what they're going through. It's a perfect scam. It really is.
They also discuss the belly button massager and the clapper in the video. And the belly button massager, the claim is that it cures cancer and that the belly button is the magic spot to cure cancers and that you can clap a tumor until it's gone. And my honest belief in this is there is an aspect of big pharma that wants to make money. And I feel like if any of these treatments or any of these things were real, honestly, they'd probably be exploiting it anyways. Whether it costs $20 or $200, they would be finding a way to bring this into the hospitals and use it. They're going to get their money somehow.
And the way that this guy is talking, if it was true, just like what you're saying, cancer would have been cured 30 years ago.
And that's one of those things where the conspiracy theory comes into play, because a lot of people do think that there is a cure for cancer. And I'm going to say it again, if there was, it would already be exploited. And not every healthcare system is out for money either. So if these treatments were as inexpensive as they were, other healthcare systems would also be using it because it actually works.
We'd be clapping our body parts all day if this was the case.
The other thing that is a red flag for me that I saw in this is that he is using religious manipulation. He boasts in his meetings that God works for him, and people see his videos on Facebook. And because of this complex that he has, they see him as kind of like a savior for their medical problems.
The amount of scams using God to justify what they're doing is bewildering to me.
One of the women who sought treatment from Darrell Wolfe came in for a cure and ended up with a problem. He claimed that her heart was stuck to her chest, and the non-surgical therapy that he was doing on her is he was using his elbow and pushing in on her chest where your sternum is. And while he's doing this treatment, the woman is clearly in pain. Again, she's screaming, probably because when you push down on your sternum, it's very painful. You can try it yourself. You do not have to push hard for it to hurt. This is often a spot that healthcare professionals like paramedics or nurses, they'll take their knuckles and they'll rub on their sternum to as a painful stimuli to assess your level of consciousness. So I don't understand why he would be pushing on her sternum as any type of a treatment and thinking that this helps. But apparently this treatment cost her $13,000. And when she went home and went to see a doctor, it was already too late. And 2 weeks after the interview, she actually died.
This is why this information is dangerous. He's playing with people's lives, and he's got this facade where he's the savior. He is going to cure you of all your problems. But little do his victims know, he could be the reason they pass away.
Yes, because people are seeking out this alternative treatment, and clearly these treatments in some cases are not working. And by the time this poor woman went to see a professional, there was no treatment available for her. There was another Canadian from Calgary that was diagnosed with MS, which is not curable. They bought into Wolfe's claims and bought supplements and devices and followed all of his advice, saying that he could be cured. And this person really thought that this treatment would work and kept saying, give it time, give it time. And they did it for 3 months and they still had no results. And that's probably the outcome for a lot of people that try these treatments.
And then it comes back to, oh, if it's not working, it's because you did something. It's your own fault. It's your fault that you have this problem, and it's your fault that you can't make it go away.
When Marketplace then confronts Wolfe, he actually left Ontario and expressed no doubts about the effectiveness of his treatment, even though people were dying. There was another man that went, he was 27 or 28 years old, went to Wolfe for HIV treatment in the early 90s when he had his clinic in Toronto, where he said he could be cured of HIV with that machine that pumps ozone gas into a person's body. And it wasn't long after receiving treatment that he also died.
This is why we need to expose him. He needs to be stopped before more people die.
The journalist team that had went down to Mexico to essentially see what Darrell Wolfe was doing, the types of treatments that he was giving, at some point in the tents where they're actually giving the treatments, Darrell Wolfe makes it known that he knows that somebody is recording him and filming everything that he's doing, and says to the camera basically that he knows that you might not believe this, but nobody's going to stop him from doing what he's doing.
And he goes as far to say that he's in bed with the Mexican police and will have the police show up and deal with the intruder. And that was a really scary moment for the guys that had gone undercover. They had to remove themselves from the situation for their own safety. And that is another power trip tool that Darrell Wolfe is using. He's scaring people into not questioning him because he does have the police on the payroll. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But if somebody told me, hey, I'm just going to call the Mexican police, that would scare the living crap out of me. He wouldn't be somebody that I would want to upset or even go against in any type of way, especially if I'm already in the tent with him and he's starting to say that. That's scary territory for me.
He also says that the military's on his side and protecting him, which is just another thing where, okay, now we're talking about the police and the military. I can 100% understand why the journalists needed to leave at this time. But they still took the opportunity to confront him because he came to Barrie for a presentation later on, and they confronted him in his many claims that he's able to cure cancer. And Darrell Wolfe actually goes on to say that he's never said this and that no one has ever died after receiving his treatment.
Which we already know is not true because CBC did find people that had passed away after going to Darrell Wolfe.
Yeah, they do a lot of interviews and tell some really, I don't want to say great stories because they're not great, but they are good stories that provide the full context of how manipulative and damaging his claims are, and that ultimately they have costed people their lives. And these people are no longer here to be able to speak up for themselves. Danielle and I both felt like this CBC Marketplace documentary did an amazing job of outing Darrell Wolfe and this medical scam that he is pulling off and providing a full picture of just how dangerous his misinformation is, and that this alternative treatment is not something that people should be considering. If you are interested in watching it, which we highly recommend that you do, we are going to leave the link in the description of the episode. I wanted to show a clip about essential oils because Danielle and I also have concerns about essential oils in the MLM world, where people promote dangerous uses of essential oils, such as putting them on your skin when they're not diluted and ingesting them. And Darrell Wolfe is one of those people.
Back, Bravehearts, to another energy medicine moment. One of my most favorite products is called Immunity Essential Oil. This is the best thing to protect your immune system. You can take Immunity Essential Oil and take a few drops and put it on your throat. It's going to help to bring down a sore throat. You know, when I start to get a sore throat, or if I start to feel like I'm coming down with something, I will take 1 or 2 drops, drop it on my tongue, mix it with saliva and swallow. And it just trickles down and it creates a little bit of a burning. But understand something, these essential oils are just food. And it's a high vibrational concentrated food. That's what you're dealing with. And remember this, okay? You can rub the immunity on the bottom of your feet if you've got sore feet. You can rub the immunity essential oil on any part of your body that you believe that you need that higher vibration and support. And remember something, when it comes to any type of nutritional product, it's all about vibration. And the vibration's so high in immunity essential oil that when you put it on your throat, it will actually protect and block other airborne infections from coming in for at least 3 to 4 hours. So have an immunity day.
Ew, just no, that's disgusting. Has he been talking to the Lynch sisters with this whole vibration thing again?
I was wondering
No.
about that because I don't really understand what the vibration is he's talking about in everything that he makes. And the other thing is you're not supposed to put undiluted essential oils directly on your skin, and you're definitely not supposed to be ingesting them. So the fact that it's burning is not a good thing. It's because it's not supposed to be on your body like that. And to suggest that you're going to stop all airborne pathogens by using this, that's probably one of the wildest claims that I have ever heard.
And again, there's no research to back up anything that he's claiming. He's essentially just saying whatever he feels like saying to make his sale. That's all it is.
Exactly. He's got tons of supplements, tons of different techniques and like little tools that he wants you to buy. The app has a lot of videos on how to do all these things, self-healing. There's mind over matter courses and all different types of stuff. And all it is to me is a sales pitch, because in every one of his videos, there's at least 3 or 4 products that he's saying, well, if this is happening to you, all you need to do is buy this. The other product I wanted to bring up was anything to do with the silver bullet. That is actually a colloidal silver product, and a lot of manufacturers will try to sell this as a cure-all, but little research has been done to study any of the health claims that anybody makes about this colloidal silver. And in fact, the US Food and Drug Administration has acted against manufacturers making these products because of these unproven health claims. And there might not be necessarily a harmful negative side effect to using this, but it does cause a disorder that makes people turn silver. It gives them a blue-gray tint on their skin, their eyes, their organs, their nails, and their gums. And even after taking this product, it doesn't go away. So while it might not be harmful, it does cause permanent cosmetic concerns.
Welcome back, Bravehearts, to another energy medicine moment. We're talking about silver bullet gel and silver bullet solution. Now, silver bullet solution is 30 parts per million, and our gel is also 30 parts per million. And that is as strong as anybody needs to give you that powerful antibacterial, antimicrobial, antiparasitical protection. And understand something, our silver bullet gel, you could eat it. It's organic and it's all natural. You can take it internally, or you can even put it on your skin, or you can add it to your vaginal infusion for the best and most powerful healing. Please look that up. Now, our silver bullet spray, you can spray it in your eyes. You can nebulize it. As you will see right here, this is a nebulizer, and what you're seeing right now is silver bullet solution coming out. You can breathe it in to help to clean your lungs. You can spray it in your eyes. You can put a few drops in your ears to let it soak to bring down tinnitus. There are so many things that we can do. Remember something, this is nature's most powerful antibiotic.
There is so many things wrong with everything he promoted in here. First of all, women should not be using this internally. I'm just going to put that out there without talking to a healthcare professional. They should not be putting anything inside of their bodies.
That's crazy. And I'm glad you just said that. Please, nobody follow the instructions that he's giving. Talk to a real healthcare provider if you've got questions about treatments that you want to explore.
The next thing that we're going to be talking about is the other medical device that he sells. This is the belly button therapy.
Healing chemicals in the world faster than anything else you can do. just by doing this.
Totally. So they want to keep you in a sympathetic state, but we're here to show you how you can get into a parasympathetic state. And this is
stay there.
Yeah. And this is the only state where we can heal. A sympathetic state is that fight or flight response where we're always in fear or terror, like we might feel like we're under attack. So the parasympathetic state is that state of relaxation where we're going to be getting our daily dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So our belly button is the number one button to push to get into that parasympathetic state.
And here's the other thing. When you're in a sympathetic state, you're in a contractual state, which means that you're pushing your blood supply from your abdomen to your pelvis out to your arms and legs. Every time that you are in a sympathetic state and you're sitting down and you're not running from a dinosaur or a tiger, then the acid is going in and it's eating your body away. This is why we're in a big mess. And remember something. 75 years ago, we would have 3 traumatic moments a month. We now have 17 a day, and 99.9% of them are all made up in our head. That's what they've done to us.
And he's referring to like big pharma in the healthcare system when he's saying that this is what they've done to us. The issue that I have specifically with this is that he like really puts your belly button on a pedestal, saying that it can heal everything and that by stimulating your belly button, you can cure and do all types of things. And that just simply isn't true. The belly button has not been proven, or stimulating the belly button. There's nothing proving that doing anything and using this tool stimulates or actually does anything to help with anything. The interesting thing that I found about this video too, because I did watch the whole thing, is he talks a lot about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And anybody that knows a little bit about that and knows a little bit more than the basics is going to watch this and go, wow, this guy actually has no idea anything about these symptoms at all. Like he does not even have a basic understanding. And that's what I felt like after when I watched it. I'm like, he doesn't even have a basic understanding of those systems.
Okay, well, what are the side effects? What are the negatives?
Mhm.
You know,
Because they've been brainwashed
they've been brainwashed.
to all those, prescription.
Don't touch yourself, and definitely don't touch anybody in the family. Just everybody suffer.
So they're giving us a nice little demonstration.
brainwashing over the years.
Yeah.
Okay. So after we do step 3, which is the hepatic flexure area, we're now going to.
So this is a demonstration of how they use the belly button tool. And in this clip, they are saying that big pharma has brainwashed people into thinking that their medications will solve their gut problems when really all they need to do is stimulate their belly button.
Was like heavy.
Yeah.
That night.
It's a scary
Talk about
feeling.
a wet day. Okay. Well, we do know that dairy is the most inflammatory food, and it's the main food that causes cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Don't
okay,
go,
Corky,
don't go near
have
it.
another slice of cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was poisoned with dairy the other day, eating out as well.
Yeah, you got it.
And I was like vegan. I was very adamant about that, and they still put cheese in it. And I took care of business when I was done. Well, I caught it, I stopped eating it, and then went crazy with the Digest Complete. We were talking about this earlier, so just so anybody knows if this happens to you, Digest Complete, I probably took 20, took 3 HCl, took a lot of tummy love, a lot of fulvic acid.
And she waited for the chef to come out that night, and she attacked him.
Yeah, got my revenge. No.
I have a problem with them saying that dairy is the #1 cause of cancer, because that's just, again, it's simply not true. And then she goes on to say that she had to use, what was that, 5, 6 of the products from eating dairy one time. That's totally
bite.
unnecessary.
And then seriously, I did a coffee enema, took a lot of tea, and I didn't have a reaction like I normally had,
Now-
which would have been really bad skin problems for like 2 months.
And not just that, but you might think that we're overreacting and that we're health nuts. Well, guess what? No, we're awake.
Mhm.
Okay. And we know what feeling vibrantly healthy and alive is.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, the majority of the people watching this, they do not.
No.
And I am not knocking you. So understand that.
Yeah.
It's just that it's your God-given right to have it, but you're going to have to claim it.
Totally. And I know for myself, dairy was one of the biggest things that was taking my health down and was causing some of the biggest problems in my life and health. So for sure, I was going to take major action to not let that happen.
Yeah. And you know what? And here's the deal. You're going, wow, if they're so healthy, why do they react so much? Well, because we are so healthy.
Exactly.
When your body takes a poison, it goes, get it and stop it.
Mhm.
When you do the dairy, your body goes, well, you know, you might as
Just
well
another
keep
day.
it. You might as well keep it because it's all they're going to give us
Yeah.
anyways. And
Yeah.
they don't even know they're in pain.
Totally.
Right. Okay.
All right. Step 8, we're going to come straight down towards the urethra bladder. So this is really good.
Yeah. And
Stimulate
that's when
this
you really
area.
want to get right into that belly button.
Yeah.
And really trigger.
And see that downward angle? We're not straight in like that first step. Down. Really stimulate. This is so good for the pelvis.
You have no idea how much money you just saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, on everything, digesting and surgery and
Yeah.
you know what?
Supplements.
I'll tell you, this little puppy here will get you pregnant. Okay. That's what you heard what I just said. Okay. All right.
He's magical. Just kidding.
What a slap in the face to all couples and families going through fertility treatments who are trying everything possible to get pregnant, and they're just simply suggesting, oh, just press on your belly button.
Yeah, and the other thing is they're saying that you're saving yourself from supplements and surgeries, but they're also saying these supplements that we sell are what you need in case this happens to help you. It's a little bit misleading to say that you're not going to need to use any supplements, and then in this same video you're also talking about all of the supplements that you sell and that'll help your digestive issues. And then to also claim that using this tool will get you pregnant is just disgusting. There's no scientific proof that that works, and that is giving very desperate people false hope.
And they're so confident while they're doing this training module, whatever it is that they're presenting right now. They're so confident.
This is belly button therapy. Cures all.
If only it were that simple. It was very important for Haley and I to do this video today because there's not enough information out there discrediting what Darrell Wolfe is doing. And when looking at the information that is available, it's only what Darrell Wolfe is giving. Other than that mini doc that CBC did, there is not enough information out there giving people the facts that they need to understand that what he's claiming is far-fetched and delusional.
And Darrell Wolfe is alive and well. He is currently practicing in Mexico, but believe it or not, he does come back to Canada. I think it's actually next week that he is going to be, is it BC? He's going to be in Kelowna, and he has conferences planned for Alberta in June in Kananaskis. And we really just feel that it's important, like Danielle said, for people to have all the facts. And if you are seeking alternative methods to the traditional healthcare system, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's important to understand that these claims that Darrell Wolfe is making are just that. They're claims. There's no scientific evidence or proof that what he is saying works. And it's scary that people might be looking for these alternative methods and come across these videos and think that some of these things are going to work for chronic illnesses.
It's a sham. He's a sham, and people deserve to know the truth.
People work really hard for their money, and there's no way that they should be having to spend this astronomical amount to receive these treatments and not know that they're potentially not going to work or have any actual effect on the illness that they have. If you like these videos and you want to learn more about MLMs and other scams, make sure you subscribe to Queens of Schemes on YouTube.
Thank you.